Did you come today with specific questions and things that are on your mind?
Yes, we've kind of been tossing around the, wondering about where we're gonna have this baby. So meaning, I guess, are we gonna have it at the hospital or
Home birth.
we're exploring home birth ideas, which is quite new to us. So we do have some things we'd like to talk about.
Sure. So I'm happy to talk to you. This is actually a great time to start that discussion. You're not actually eligible for a home birth until your term, right? Because we don't do anybody at home who has any risk factors.
Okay.
What do you mean by not
Wilmington.
eligible?
In order to plan a home birth in BC, and really when we look at the best available information, the evidence around what helps you have a safe and healthy outcome, it's best to plan a home birth in the context of a very healthy pregnancy and a term baby, a baby who doesn't need the additional equipment or personnel that the hospital might have to offer.
Okay. Right.
So we usually call term is about 37 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Right, so that's what I mean by eligible.
Oh, okay.
You have to, we have to know that you've had a healthy pregnancy all the way through. The baby is fully developed. That you don't have high blood pressure or some sort of condition that would benefit from the additional equipment or personnel that the hospital has to offer. In that context, if you have, very healthy women, families, and their term, then the other issue, in order making that choice, brings in other issues. Where do you see yourself? What's most comfortable for you? We can talk through a little bit about what are the things that are on your mind. I can tell you about who attends the births and what the options are, and we can also talk about when. Usually, we start this discussion, and then there are opportunities for you to make that decision over time. Have you read anything about home birth or hospital birth?
More so, I would say we have a very close friend who has gone through fairly recently a home birth. So, in terms of reading, not so much. More just, I guess we could say, word of mouth and.
Yeah, word of mouth. Like I said, no, I haven't read anything about home birth, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm used to hearing about more hospital births, I guess, just
course, that's
more mainstream.
much more common
The obvious
in
direction to
Canada.
take.
That's
Yeah.
true.
We coincidentally just had a really good friend of ours who just had a home birth last year, and they spoke wonders about it. And it was just this magical experience. The sun was coming up and French doors.
So that kind of, I
it
guess,
was
maybe
interesting.
opened up our
Yeah,
opinion. Like all of a sudden, it was like, oh,
sparked our
maybe
curiosity.
we should explore that a bit more.
And what have you
Yeah.
heard about hospital birth?
Just seems like it appears as though more women give birth at hospitals. More of a mainstream thing to do. And, I thought potentially maybe it's a safer option, potentially. Just that would come to mind.
And what when you say safer option, what does safety mean to you? What are you looking? What are the concerns that come up for you? Or even as you say, it's mainstream. So of course we do the images that we see in media and whatnot are much more about labor and birth happening in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of drama around birth. It's unfortunately, most labor and birth is not dramatic. It takes time, right? But that's what movies are about, right? So let's talk a little bit about what the realities are. What are the things that worry you? First, let's start with what type. Leave aside place of birth, because there are a lot of probably more similarities than there are differences for someone who's very healthy. So we can
place of birth.
describe in place of birth, right?
Yeah.
You have a room.
Yeah.
In either place, you will choose an environment that feels safe and comfortable for you. You may or may not be, on a sofa, on a bed, or on the floor, depending on when you're actually having the baby. But labor takes time, so there's a lot of time to think about how you're going to negotiate your comfort in labor, right? Some women will use water, some will use showers, tubs. Some women will want to kneel and put their heads on a sofa, have someone press their back. And so one thing you know about is what are those comfortable spaces in your own environment, and you may not be as much as knowledgeable about. So in the hospital there, we have now started to evolve the options for comfort care that include position changes, birth balls, squatting stools, things like that. Some hospitals have them, some don't.